We've heard from bankers and businessmen and politicians about the current economic crisis, but what does organized labor have to say? We're going to find out. We hear a lot about green shoots from bankers and businessmen. Do you see green shoots, or do you see a little more mud ahead?
I see plenty of mud. I know markets have recovered a bit, the equity market. Bank profits have certainly been going up, but I don't see any serious green shoots. And the news, the outlook in the real economy is grim. Unemployment's going to be going up for at least the next 12 months. It could be a lot longer than that. And a lot of businesses are going to go bankrupt. It's bad news for the next 12 months, I think, at least.
Could I ask you to be just a little bit more specific? I mean, I'm looking at it from the point of view of, certainly in the U.S., we've seen the auto industry announce a lot of layoffs that haven't taken place. Now, that's going to have worldwide repercussions as well. But can you think of other industries that might be like that, that make you have this doom and gloom scenario?
Well, I think it's going to be fairly general. I mean, there's probably going to be exceptions, foodstuffs, pharmaceuticals, there's sort of areas of relative good news, the public sector, relative good news. But the bad news is that those dependent on consumer spending, of which cars are a major part, anything dependent on the construction trades, which are in deep depression at the present time, I would say basically the public sector, although it may be okay now, all the signs are that there'll be huge cuts in it in the months to come, because the pressure is on governments to cut their debt and to rein back their printing money or their liquidity operations, which they've been using to keep the economy going. So I think that the minute there are green shoots, the governments will cut back on public spending, and that's going to be a very, very difficult period with a lot of lost jobs.
We've seen some of the stimulus packages around the world taking place for the moment. So what I'm hearing you say is by the time some of those either run out on their own, they won't be renewed, or give me your one-year scenario compared to today.
Well, I mean, you can see what's happening now. I mean, people are getting nervous about the amount of public debt. The governor of the European Central Bank said as much yesterday. That's it. We've done enough stimulus measures. The German government are saying no more. And although the British and the French are keeping some things going, a lot of people now are saying we simply can't afford to do any more. And I think at the moment we're in summers here, there's seasonal work is available and so on. But when the autumn comes, then the cold winds, not just of the weather, will come, but the cold economic winds as well.
What kind of leadership would you like to see from the financial sector?
I don't think a lot of them have realized there is a sea change. I think their particular philosophy is, well, we made some mistakes, there was some excess, we've learned some lessons. But please don't regulate us. We don't stifle innovation and so on. Let us carry on. Business as usual. There's no shortage of people in Wall Street and London and other major financial centres saying that. Very few that are honestly recognising that what they've perpetrated is a total disaster for the Western economy. It's the cost of a major war that we've incurred as a result of the bailouts of the banks. And I do think that the quality I would like to see would be some humility and some self-control, not paying themselves a fortune again at the first time the bank profits go up, and believing that they're all suddenly virtuous high performers when they've actually been engaged in things that have been scandalous.
What kinds of things would you consider particularly scandalous that you would maybe want to see change?
Well, the whole world of credit derivative swaps was a disgrace, and the way people were using them to avoid tax liabilities all over the place, the way that pay and bonuses was linked to these kind of, well, I think it was Paul Volcker who called them alchemy, and the old medieval fool's gold. And these people, they verge on the illegal, on larceny. They've stolen from their shareholders, they've stolen from the taxpayers, they've lost a lot of money. Now they're making some. Business as usual. It's incredible that they could be so dim and greedy at both the same time.
Some of the emergency measures, the stimulus measures, do they make you a little bit nervous?
It's going to be a very difficult task to unwind the stimulus packages. I mean, we've had a classic Keynesian operation in most countries, not all, and some haven't done as much as they should have done. But there's been a lot of public spending. The central banks have made a lot of money available. And the really tough judgment will be when they have to start withdrawing that. Now, I think this is going to go on longer than anybody thinks, and therefore it's going to be an even more difficult decision to take because indebtedness is rising all the time. So I think the time to do it is when there are some solid green shoots in the real economy and so on, and then the government can step back and pull some of its money out. But that's only going to keep some sort of equilibrium. It's not going to fuel any growth. It's merely going to stop further decline. And I can understand the governor of the European Central Bank and others getting nervous about the operation. It's going to be very tough.
If you had all the power in the world, you had a magic wand, what would you do to end the crisis?
Well, I think I'd do two things, basically. One is I'd start spending quite a lot of money on the unemployed because I think there's going to be a lot more of those, and school leavers and college leavers this year are in for a rough time.
What do you do, though? And how
well, temporary work schemes, incentives to learn, incentives to train. Lots of activity there, a bit of a 1930s feel to those kind of schemes, or indeed they were there in the 1980s as well, and we need them again. We can't pretend that we don't, and at the moment some people seem to be thinking we'll be okay. So big effort on the unemployed, and secondly a big effort to say never again in the financial services world can this take place, and so some old-fashioned virtues of banking to make it a serious, solid, rather boring exercise, not wildly exciting, innovative, run like a badly run casino.
Thank you very much, Mr. Monks, for being with us.
Okay, thank you.